One of the most valuable things that I've learned in life so far is that happiness is created and not found. I think that when we're in circumstances that aren't the best, when we don't feel great about ourselves, and when we're just in really toxic situations and our life just isn't looking how we pictured it or how we want it to look, we can think that happiness is something that evades us, that it's something that is hard to capture, that we need to indulge in substances and instant gratification and all of those things to have some relief from our lives, because our lives are just not fulfilling us in the way that we want it to. And there was a point for me where I really realized that nobody was coming to save me, and that my circumstances were my choices, and I was in complete control of that, and nobody had that responsibility to change my circumstances. It was nobody else's responsibility to change my life except for me. And that was such a crucial and integral, pivotal moment in my life, because from that moment onwards, I made it a mission. I made it a journey. And I took steps every single day. And it can seem impossible when you're so far away from where you want to be. But if you take a single step every single day, a year from now, you're going to be in a completely different place. And this has happened for the last 3 years, almost 4 years of my life, where I've just completely changed my circumstances, because happiness is something that is created. It's something that we choose. So I don't want you to think of happiness as something that is an eternal state. Happiness is not an eternal state of being, because life, it comes with suffering. We cannot escape suffering. We cannot escape pain. What we can do is have tools that can help us through the pain. But what I want you to understand about happiness when it comes to your life, if you are suffering for something that you love, something that makes you happy, for example, I can get really, really just over band practice. Sometimes I just don't want to do it. But there's many times where I actively push past that, and I'm actively thinking about the future. I'm thinking about my future self. I'm thinking about how good it's going to feel to be well practiced, to be on stage and to be confident, and to have that knowing that I've put the work in, to get a year from now and be able to look back and see a change in my musicianship, the way that I write music, the way that I create, the way that I express myself. That makes me happy. Delayed gratification when it comes to my passions and my hobbies makes me happy. It creates a fulfillment that exceeds everyday pain, like not wanting to show up, not wanting to do band practice, but I wouldn't rather be suffering for anything else, because if I was working a job that I hate, and I've worked jobs that I've hated before. I used to be a graphic designer and I hated it, and there were things that I would have to do in my job that I hated. It wasn't even working towards anything that I wanted. It wasn't something that I was passionate about. And that just creates so much resentment. When you're suffering for things that you don't even care about, it creates so much resentment inside of you. Resentment towards yourself, resentment towards the world, resentment towards people that are happy. So when we choose our passion, when we choose to enrich our lives with things, passion projects, and obviously this channel is a lot about mentoring creative individuals. So specifically about that, You know, if you're choosing to suffer for the things that you love because you know that it's rewarding, even if it's not a, typical manifestation of success. It's still rewarding because you get to do it, because you show up, because the better that you get and the more skills that you acquire and the more that you collaborate with other people, whatever it is that you're wanting out of it, the more happy you are in general. And believe me, I've been stressed beyond belief. I've been so busy and so overworked in many parts of my career so far. But regardless, I wouldn't rather be suffering for anything else. So this is why I say that happiness is something that's created and not found. I suppose in a way you are finding happiness when you choose to pursue the things that you want to pursue and to create a life that you want to live. But that's just exactly it. Is you are the master of your reality. You are the one in control of you. Even though sometimes it may not seem like it. It may seem like there's things that have power over us. But really they don't. It took me rock bottom to get that. To really understand that I was in control the whole time. I had the power to change. I had the power to change my circumstances, and I did. You wouldn't believe the person that I used to be compared to who I am today. And that took years of work. That took showing up every day, even if it was just the tiniest bit, even if it was a mindset shift. And sometimes mindset shifts take me a couple weeks, a couple months. There's been a lot of mindset shifts that have taken years, from wounds that go back throughout my whole life. And this is why I talk about all of these things, is because when you really take the reins of your life and you stop letting outside forces and outside circumstances dictate who you are and the choices that you make in your life, and you take your power back and you say no more toxic, no more unfulfilling circumstances, no more dead-end jobs, no more unfulfilling partnerships, no more self-hatred, no more, I'm done. You get to decide when you're done, when enough is enough, I think I always knew that I would get to that point. I just didn't know when it would happen, but I knew that when it did, when I was in that position where I was like, I have a choice, I knew that if I didn't make it then, I wasn't going to make it for a very, very long time. The purpose of these videos is to help you understand the power that you hold when it comes to your life, when it comes to the things that you want out of life, your happiness, because your happiness is sacred. And once you cultivate that within yourself and in your circumstances, and you know that you hold the power within you to feel that, to acknowledge your happiness, to live your happiness, to be fulfilled by your happiness, nobody else can take that away from you. And when you respect yourself, and somebody tries to take away your happiness or to just poop on your parade, it's like rain on a window. And it's not always going to be easy. There's always going to be failures. There's always going to be roadblocks, setbacks. There's been many times in my career where things just haven't worked out. I've been rejected, just normal human life things. But it doesn't deter me from my overall perspective of my life, where I am really happy because I am in a band and I'm playing shows and I'm doing the thing, I'm doing what I always wanted to do, and I'm really proud of the person that I am, and I'm happy to be me. And it's taken me a long time to be able to sit here and say that, especially to people online, you know. So I want you to think about this. And if you are already on this journey and taking steps towards your happiness, I want you to know that it's all going to be worth it, okay? I want you to keep going. Even when you face a setback, you would be astonished by the power and the strength that you have. And if you just keep pushing, you will prove that to yourself. It's completely within you. You can do it. And if you're just starting, or if you haven't started yet, please don't be discouraged by the road ahead. It is a long one. It is one that can be very discouraging, but also very forgiving. When you have you by your side, you have everything that you need, okay? And I wish you the absolute best of luck. As always, I hope that this video helped, and thank you so much for 500 subscribers. I never said it before, but I'm really happy. I'm really glad, and I'm just very grateful that there are people out there that really find help with the things that I have to say. It's very affirming for the wisdom that I have had for most of my life, if not all of it, and the fact that I get to share it with other people and for it to be received and reciprocated is really beautiful. So I really, really hope that you stick around, and I always, as always, just hope the best for you and whatever you are pursuing in your life, and I really hope that it brings you happiness. And I'll see you in the next one.